Hello everybody and welcome to Flock Talk. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can train your bird to be able to respond to their cues and do all of their tricks even if you have no treats on your person. It is extremely common when you're going through the process of training to hit a point where it seems like your bird suddenly has no idea how to do their tricks if you don't actively have a treat sitting right in front of their face or you don't have your pouch immediately on your body. This is super common and it's not a big deal and it has a pretty easy fix. The first thing we want to address when looking to solve this problem is delayed reinforcement. And what this means is that your bird hearing your marker, so that could be your clicker or maybe you saying the word yes, whatever you are using to mark the moment that your bird has done the correct thing, and then the treat coming a while after that sound occurring. The amount of time that can elapse between the behavior and the marker and then the treat being delivered can greatly determine whether or not your bird will feel confident doing a behavior if they don't immediately see a reinforcer available. By increasing the duration between your marker and the delivery of the reward, you can create a bird that is very confident in doing that behavior regardless of whether or not they see an immediate reinforcer available, because they know that as long as that marker has happened, a treat or some form of reinforcement will follow. In order to set this up and practice, what you're going to do is you're going to have your bird on their perch and you're going to pick behaviors that they know extremely well already. You don't want to do this with behaviors that are brand new. You want to do these with things that have a really strong reinforcement history. The bird knows them really well, they understand the expectation, and they know that it is very likely going to lead to a reinforcer. I'm going to set my bird on my perch, ask for the behavior, give them their marker, which in my case is a clicker, but it could also be a vocal cue like yes or good, whatever you plan on using, and then I'm going to deliver the treat shortly after. With every repetition, I'm going to increase the amount of time between my marker and the delivery of the reward. So I'm going to ask for the behavior, immediately mark it for them doing the correct thing, and then I'm going to wait half a second to deliver it to them. With the next round, I'm going to wait maybe a full second before I deliver that treat. And each time, they're going to wait slightly longer durations in order to earn that reinforcer. A couple key things I'm going to keep in mind while I'm doing this is that for the first few reps, I'm going to probably have the treat in my hand ready to go. If you've got a bird that really will not do the behavior, unless that treat is immediately in front of their face, you're going to hold that treat in your hand for the first little bit, and then you're gradually going to distance the bird from the treat before you deliver it. So if I need to have the treat visible in order for my bird to do the behavior, I'm going to hold it in my hand, nice and visible, ask for the behavior, mark, then deliver the reinforcer. The next time, maybe I'll conceal the treat in my hand, but still have my hand in the same position. Mark the reward, or mark the behavior, then deliver the reward. And then on the third rep, what I'm going to start doing is concealing it a little bit more. So I might lower my hand a little bit until I'm able to gradually move my hand down towards my side or even behind my back. So now the treat no longer needs to be visible in order for my bird to respond. At this stage, I would be able to have my treats in my pouch, and my hands can be by my side, and my bird can still respond without the treats needing to be immediately visible. I'll stay at this stage, making sure that the bird is really confident in doing these behaviors without the treat visible before moving on to the next steps. Some key things I want to watch with my body language is that my hands are not staying on the pouch, they're not resting inside the pouch. I'm keeping my hands a distance away from the pouch so my hands do not have to actively be interacting with the thing that holds food in order to get them to do that behavior. I might keep my hands in a different position every time just to make it very clear to them that it doesn't matter where I am relative to my treat pouch, I am still going to be delivering that reward regardless of how close my hands are to it. All throughout this process, we're still working on building up more of that duration between the marker and the reinforcer. So at this point, I might be marking the behavior and then delivering the treat 2 or 3 seconds after I have marked it. I'm going to build up that duration and make sure that my hands are completely free of the treats and my hands are not anywhere near the pouch until I'm able to have, let's say, a 3 or 4 second gap. Just enough space where I could rest my pouch down somewhere else and be able to walk to it to deliver the reward, because that's going to be our next stage. I want to be able to disconnect myself from the treats and still have the bird see that responding to me and listening to my cues is going to be the thing that gets them the rewards that are sitting a distance away from me. So at first, I'm going to have my treat pouch as close to me as I can without having to be physically on me. I'm going to rest them on a nearby shelf, and I'm just going to ask for a couple easy behaviors. With these, I'm going to speed up the reinforcement delivery the first few times because this is a new concept for them. If they respond to me at all, I want to make sure that it is worth their while as fast as possible. I don't want to be stretching their patience when we're introducing something new. So at first, I'm going to be delivering those rewards as fast as I can, quickly reaching behind me for that treat pouch and delivering the reward nice and quick. As they get more confident with this and they understand that they will still get reinforcement despite the fact that I'm not wearing the treat pouch, then I can begin to increase that duration a bit more where I can increase the distance that I am away from my pouch. So for these next following reps, I'm going to move away from the pouch a little bit more. I'm going to take a couple steps away, make it so that way I can't reach it immediately, make it so that way I have to walk a little bit, and then it takes slightly more time for me to be able to access the rewards and deliver it to them. Now this is not only going to be working on the bird's capacity to wait a little bit longer to get that reinforcer and build a little bit of patience, but it's going to cause them to be more confident responding to me even if the treats seem impossibly far away and disconnected from me entirely. If I have to walk halfway across the room to get them, the bird will still see that even though the treats are not on me, they are still getting them, they are still valuable, and there is still a valuable reason to be interacting with me despite the fact that those treats are not physically on my person. Now, once I'm feeling pretty confident with this, where I'm getting very nice, speedy, quick reactions from my birds, they're not showing any hesitancy or concern, they're not trying to go for the pouch over going for me instead, this is where I'm going to make things a little bit more difficult, and I'm going to hide the treat pouch entirely. Now, how I'm going to transition to this is I'm going to leave the treat pouch visible, but I'm going to keep some treats in my pockets. So even though the treats are not visible, they don't know that I have them on my person, they see that treat pouch, they know there's treats there, they are still going to be interacting with me and ignoring that pouch and seeing that value is coming from me and has absolutely nothing to do with the pouch in that moment. So I'm asking my bird for that behavior, and I will be delivering rewards that I have hidden in my pockets. It doesn't look like I'm wearing a treat pouch, it doesn't look like I have valuable items on me, but for some unpredictable reason, I do happen to have really highly valuable snacks, and I don't need the treat pouch in order to access them. That little step right there is going to be a big key part in helping our birds recognize that the treat pouch is not necessarily the thing that's valuable as much as it is us. Over time, what I'm going to start to do is hide that treat pouch entirely. Now that the bird knows that food can come from me without me ever having to interact with that pouch, it's going to set up a situation where if that pouch disappears, there's still a really strong chance that I myself will hold valuable reinforcers. So I'm going to hide that treat pouch, maybe just stick it underneath a coat or hide it around the corner behind a wall, whatever happens to work with your setup. We're going to hide the pouch a little bit, ask them for a simple behavior, and deliver a reward from our pockets. So now the pouch is completely out of the equation. It's no longer connected to us at all, but we are still delivering the same valuable reinforcement. This is going to help them break that connection where now the treat pouch is no longer needed in order for them to be able to do a designated behavior. And now you could stop this here. This is a very good place to be where your bird is now able to respond to you even if they don't visibly see the treat in your hands and they don't visibly see the treat pouch available. But we want to make sure that they're still going to be able to respond to us if there is a delay from asking for the behavior to there not being a reinforcement visible or accessible and then them eventually getting reinforced. So what I want to make sure that I do here is now I'm going to remove the treats from my pockets. I'm going to keep the treat pouch hidden but somewhere decently close, and we're basically going to be repeating step one where we are increasing the duration between the marking of them doing the behavior and when they actually access the reward. So I'm going to ask for the behavior, and then I'm going to click them, and then I'm going to quickly trot away, grab that treat, come back and give it to them. So now the treat isn't on my person, it isn't visible in the room, and it isn't easily accessible, but they're still able to get it once they do that designated behavior. This setup is going to work fantastically well for those situations like you need to recall them off of something dangerous, or you quickly need to get them to move to a new spot and they really don't want to come down right now, because now they're going to see that even though they don't see anything and you're asking something of them, there is still a very strong chance that you're going to be taking them to something highly reinforcing and highly valuable. With this, I'm going to increase this duration to as much time as I really need it to be. So if I happen to keep my treats in one spot in the house that takes me 10 steps to access from no matter where I am, I'm going to make sure that they are capable of doing that behavior having me walk those 10 steps away and come back to deliver that treat, or bringing them along with me. And now what this setup does is has it so that way no matter where I am in the house, if I need to get my bird to do something really quickly and then run and grab them a treat afterwards, they're able to do that behavior knowing full well that a reinforcement item will follow no matter how much time has to occur between those two events. Since we've done so much practice here on our bird being able to respond to cues with our treat pouch not needing to be relevant and the treats being visible not being relevant, it becomes much more likely and much more consistent that they are going to respond to us whether or not treats are presently available. One last thing that I do want to bring in here is the fact that not all reinforcement has to be food. When we are working in real life scenarios, we can use things called life rewards. These are things that the animal naturally already really wants to do that aren't food that you can give to them at any present moment. The easiest one to use for birds is usually bringing them to a fun location. So if you need to recall your bird off of somewhere that they're not allowed to be, you can then follow up by bringing them somewhere they are allowed to be that they find really fun. This could be their play area. Maybe it's a different high up spot that they really enjoy that they are allowed to be in. This way you're still reinforcing them for that recall, but you're reinforcing them with a life reward. It's something actionable that they can do that they actively enjoy, and that will reinforce that behavior. Your reinforcer doesn't have to be food all the time. Food is just the easiest and cleanest one to deliver quickly. But when you're working with your bird in real life scenarios and you're trying to recall them off your fridge or your ceiling fan and they won't come down, having an alternative to replace the behavior that they're currently doing can be even more valuable than a food item in that moment. Because your bird is high up on the ceiling fan, you're telling them to get off of it, they don't want to come down. But if instead you say, hey, if you come down, I'll put you somewhere else that is really high and really fun, you're replacing that need that they have to be up high and to have fun in that high space with a more acceptable place that they're allowed to be. So they're able to still exhibit that behavior, they're still able to do the thing that they want, just in a slightly different place. You can do this in a variety of different ways. Like if your bird is chewing on your keyboard and you call them off to leave it, you can reinforce them with a different thing to chew on. There are all sorts of things you can use to reinforce your bird with that don't have to be food. And when you start utilizing those alternative reinforcers, it becomes really clear to your bird that that treat pouch and that visible treat don't have to be a part of the equation in order for the behavior that you want to be worth doing. And on that note, I do just want to finish off by saying that behaviors do need to be reinforced in order to continue to repeat. That is the law of nature, so to speak, as far as behavior goes. If you stop reinforcement for something, the behavior is no longer being reinforced, it will not repeat. That's the nature of reinforcement. So when we are dealing with these problems where our birds won't work for us unless we have active reinforcement on our person, we can use these alternative tools in order to delay when that reinforcement can occur and to have alternatives that are a little bit easier and more accessible reinforcers to be delivering all the time. But reinforcement in some form does need to be continuously occurring in order for behaviors to want to repeat. So that will do it for me today. I really hope this helps some of you guys out, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! You're just swooping right in front of the camera all the time today.